Hi, this is Dr. Eric Thomas for Nutmeg Dermatology, talking about a very common condition, at least usually late teens through mid-30s, could be a little either side. Usually people do grow out of it eventually, and it's often misdiagnosed. People just don't know what it is, and when they do find out what it is, they're kind of frustrated that, gee, it keeps coming back. Talking about an opportunistic, that means it's just taking chances, an opportunity to grow in your skin, an opportunistic overgrowth with an organism that produces a condition called Tinea Versicolor. Tinea means fungus. The organism may not be quite a fungus, but close enough. Versicolor because, hey, it changes the color of your skin. It can be there summer and winter, but depending on your native skin color, you may not know it until you go out in the spring or summer and start to get a tan, and guess what? You have white spots. During the winter, the spots might be hard to see. They might be a little pink. They might be a little scaly if you really look closely. Now, it's not dangerous, and it doesn't generally itch to speak of, but it is technically contagious. Even that needs qualification. While it is true that as far as anyone can tell, it's an infection, we can see the organisms when we scrape it and look under a microscope. We can do a biopsy and see them there. And if they're not there, the condition isn't there. Nevertheless, it's a very, very picky eater. Very fastidious. It's not as if koala bears just love a certain type of a tree. Panda bears eat bamboo. This particular fungus, I'm going to call it a fungus, loves certain food, some of the protein, some of the oils perhaps in your skin. So one person in a house may get it, the other generally don't. It also tends to show up with teenage years, and as I say, it frequently sort of burns out in the 30s, 40s. So what's it look like? Well, it's usually, it can be elsewhere. Generally, it's around the chest and the back. There are these irregularly lighter spots. It's pretty unseemly looking, and people around you are concerned that they're going to get it from you. Now, I have seen some areas where it just a little bit showed up. I remember one person who had it just on his right forearm, and so it doesn't have to be quite as overwhelming. How do we treat it? Well, although it technically can be treated with over-the-counter shampoos, they're a little smelly and irritating. People don't seem to do too well with them, but certainly things that contain selenium and so forth left on might do the job. Usually I like to give people a several-fold treatment. Certainly there's our creams, and if the person is able to get them on the back, if there's not a huge amount, a cream such as ketoconazole, or there are others, can do the trick. Usually a prescription is better than trying to get it over the counter, because we could get you larger 2-3 ounce tubes, and over the counter, although you can get 15-gram tubes for athlete's foot that might or might not work, pretty soon 15 grams adds up. Secondly, I have seen a number of people who have had the rash kind of march up the back of their neck right into the scalp. Now, we can't really see the rash in the scalp, and it's very difficult, if not impossible, to grow the organism. But I believe almost certainly it has a reservoir in certain areas, perhaps the scalp, perhaps under the arms, or even in the groin. So I frequently use a prescription ketoconazole shampoo. I believe there's some over-the-counter ones that are weaker, as a body wash, believing that that might prevent it from persisting and coming back. Because the problem is this organism produces little spores. They're like hard-shelled seeds, and they can last for quite a long time, regardless of your best efforts to vacuum and clean. Now, it's not rare that a person just can't really get the cream on all the areas. They're just fed up with it, so they really want to take some pills. Sure, there are pills, several types, I won't go into specifics. They're reasonably safe, but no medicine's 100% safe, especially taken internally. And I do emphasize to people that while it's easy and is the correct choice for some people, they don't really prevent the problem from coming back. So if I give a person pills, I also give them a cream or whatever seems best and ask them to keep it around, and perhaps in the spring or whenever, before they go out into the summer sun, they try applying it where they had the problem last year in hopes that it's not going to come back. Now your near and dear, your significant other, your spouse, whatever, is going to worry they're going to get it. Or they're going to, if they're really knowledgeable, say, but gee, how can it be contagious if you have it and I don't? Well, as I said, the organism is really a picky eater, and it is possible for one person to have it and not others. So I hope that this explains a little bit what's going on and doesn't frustrate you, that you don't get too frustrated if it does come back the following year. It doesn't have to, but it's easy to get rid of it in the short run, and just be a little persistent and have faith, for without faith, where are we in life? Hoping that your skin is doing well, I remain Dr. Thomas, Middlesex and Nutmeg Dermatology. Best wishes.